Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kind for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. How are my peeps doing? I trust everybody is doing fine as I get all these connections up and running. How is it going? How is it going? How is it going? I trust all is going well. Anyway, folks. We got a lot of work to do, folks. We got a lot of work to do. All right, welcome aboard. Let's start with the introductions. Let's see, AVQ. Distracted today. Monday's always my busiest. Watching from Twitch. He's from Brooklyn, New York. We also have in the house Joe from California. Good afternoon, Joe. How are you doing, beautiful? We got Bridge MCP, La Preciosa de Binghamton, New York. Welcome, Bridge. And we have the handsome Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. And La Preciosa Hermosa, Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, Georgia, and la otra preciosa que tenemos aquí adentro de nuestro chat se llama Melanie Keelan de Barcelona, Spain. In Spanish, Barcelona, España. We also have Lee Grant from Montgomery County. And who else am I missing? If I missed you, forgive me. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Bridge has the first screenshot of the day. She doesn't even give me a chance to breathe. It's like, Egberto, I got a screenshot for you. Get it on that screen so that we can share it with all our listeners and watchers, etc. So there we go, Bridge. It's on you. All right. Imagine being so full of SHIT that you need another a-hole. Oh, wow. Bridge, we are civil here, Bridge. What's wrong with you, Bridge? But I love it. Anyhow, let's get busy. All right, continuing. We've got Paul Fleming says Trump has ousted U.S. Army Lieutenant General Talitas Crossland, one of the most senior black female officers, forcing her to retire as director of the Defense Health Agency. The move reflects an anti-black purge as Trump replaced Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin with Pete Hegseth, removed C.Q. Brown as chairman of the Joint Chief Staff, and Republican just ousted Major General Cedric Wins at the VMI. And there's one, I think, another person that I don't remember. He's at another school as well. Yeah, this is exactly what's happening. There is a purge that's going on. And even this government purge that's going on, you know how they look at it, right? They look at it as, well, the federal government has because of where it's at in D.C., it has a larger amount of people of color working, but, they made a mistake. They didn't do their demographics appropriately. So, because while D.C. may have a larger contingent of minorities working for the government, guess where it doesn't? West Virginia, Alabama, and Alabama may be suspect, but West Virginia, Louisiana, and all these other places. And they're getting a piece of their butts given right back to them. If you take a look at all those Republican Congress people going home, and it's not a whole bunch of Democrats that are attacking them. It's a whole bunch of Republicans that are going to these meetings. It's a Tea Party in reverse. The same people, right? A lot of Tea Party folks are right there giving it to their Republican representative. It's just amazing. All right, Bridge MCP says, this is awesome. New York bill calls for K through 12 teaching of January 6th Capitol attack. Along with capital attack, the bill also calls on teachers to educate students about patriotism, citizenship, civic education, values, and America's history with diversity and religious tolerance. New York, thank you so kindly. That is great. Lavin noted one goal of the bill is to ensure children learn about good and bad parts of history, from slavery and the Holocaust to the Irish potato famine. That is wonderful. That is beautiful. All right, the same week, this is from Paul Fleming, the same week that Elon Musk baselessly called Social Security a Ponzi scheme, his co president Donald Trump announced that he wants to create a national crypto reserve. That's a Ponzi scheme. It's amazing what projection looks like. This could result in taxpayer dollars being used to prop up an actual Ponzi scheme. Folks, cryptocurrency is crap. Look, our dollar is based on nothing but the faith in the United States. But what is cryptocurrency based on? The faith in the private sector of people that have nothing to back it. Oh my God, oh my God. I wish people would smarten up some. Paul Fleming says, so Donnie likes Biden's CHIPS Act and invited Taiwan Semiconductor CEO to come to the White House, where he just announced that Taiwan Semiconductor is going to be located at Phoenix, Arizona, where the Biden infrastructure bill has already begun to build said facility. Trump always takes credit for other people's work. Who else does that again? Who else does that again? All right. What else have we got here? Paul Fleming also said ABC News, the federal judge wants to hear directly from one of the top officials at the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau to learn if the Trump administration is unlawfully gutting the agency. I don't have to ask that question. They are. And breaking news, broad 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico will start tomorrow at midnight tonight is when it starts. We import 6 billion in medicine from Canada and 10 billion in medical instruments from Mexico. Tariffs will make your health care more expensive. Medicine breaking news, bond 25% tariffs from Canada. Yes, it will. All right, and Michael Rudney say all fiat currencies are primarily backed by the faith of the people using said currency. It's exactly right. All right, Bridge wants another one for the screen. All right, Bridge, because you asked. Let's see what this one is. You won't get me in trouble, right? All right, here's the other one Bridge wants on the screen. It goes as follows. President Musk and family returns to the White House via Marine One after a weekend of partying at Mar-a-Lago. Wow. Is that picture real? I need to find out if that picture is real. Bridge, find out if that picture is real. If that picture is real, Madre Mia is the answer. Find out if that picture is real. I really want to know if that's just a fake. You have to be careful these days as far as what's real and what's fake. Anyway, I want to get into some racism today. You know, I don't want to talk about this all of the times, but in this case I do. Because this one really needs to be looked at. So let me go ahead and play this one, and then I'll take it on the other side. So let's go ahead and check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side. Hold 1 second. There we go. A black woman attending a hockey game recently sent a guy I respect a whole lot, Tizzy, a video of a text stream that she watched a white woman in front of her put out there. And it was, for all practical purposes, horrendous. And it's something that should be exposed, but not only exposed. But if there are a whole lot of people that think this way, and there are, it is imperative that we confront them, but not only confront them, but put into the space the reality of, to highlight the lies that these guys are putting out there, to highlight what the truth really is. Because in as much as you have people like her, there are people that are just simply misinformed, ill-informed, that need to be corrected because in their insular living spaces, it's all they know and it's all they've heard. So what I hope to do with this video, after showing you bits and pieces of what Tizzy did, is explain the stupidity of the thought process of those who are racist. But let's go ahead and listen to Tizzy.
A black woman on February 9th went to attend her first hockey game, the Washington Capitals game. Went there very excited, was recording videos, really happy about being at the game. And shortly after taking her seat, she noticed a white woman who was sitting in front of her having a text conversation with someone who was saved in her phone as Jimmy. And normally she wouldn't pay attention to something like that, but the text was very large, and certain words jump off the page, especially as a black woman. When you see someone texting like black people or blacks, that's going to get your attention. So she started paying attention, and what she saw was very upsetting. So obviously blue would be the woman's responses. The gray boxes would be Jimmy. Here you have part of a conversation: employment, education, and the criminal justice system. Serbia is considered one of the most racist countries. The woman sent him that. Jimmy responds, "That's hilarious. So they're saying America is racist because schools in the hood are worse and blacks commit crimes and are too lazy and stupid to get jobs?" She had sent him something and said, "You didn't know that?" He responded, "I do know about that. It's just crazy. Blacks probably have more experience because the hood is such a social environment. They don't travel the world like rich whites." She responds, "Right, and they say like in reading comprehension parts and tests that it's saying something about, I'm assuming black people not testing as well, but I don't see the full message, so can't say that for a fact." Next comes this one. Jimmy said, "The CIA has done mean things to black people and abortion targeted black people, but overall nobody has been so kind and welcoming as the white world." No one's been so kind and welcoming to black people as the white world, according to Jimmy. She responds, "Abortion doesn't target people. Black people have more sex partners and so have a higher risk of pregnancy." That's her response. Which brings us to this one. Jimmy says woke people are brain dead. It's easier for blacks to get into college than whites because colleges want to take people from poverty. To which she replies, "It is hardest for white females in suburban areas to get into college." And then is following that up with, "We have the highest GPAs and colleges want diversity, so they won't take us even if our grades, test scores, extracurricular." The final straw for her, and she was too upset when she saw this to think to pull out her phone and try and record it. Her partner was trying to console her, okay? But she swears on everything, and I have talked to her and confirmed this, that she then saw Jimmy text to the woman and say, "I wish whites would kill all blacks, as well as I want to commit genocide." And what got her so upset, as bad as that is, was that the woman texting with him just sort of moved on from it, like continued the conversation. Wasn't like, "What are you talking about?" She was distraught. She said the only reason she didn't confront the woman is because the woman was there with a couple of young kids. And for their sake, she didn't just blow up. But after hours of this, that woman got up to leave, and she got a very clear image of her. And then she messaged me after posting her video on TikTok and asked if I could help with this. And it took me very little time, quite frankly, to take this image and from that, find this image of that woman attending a Capitals game. She also said that this looked like the young children she was with. That image led me to this image, which led me to this very professional-looking picture that is on the website of her employer. That employer being one Alpine Group, which you can see from this LinkedIn is listed as a top 20 DC lobbying firm. And as you can see on their employment page, she's right there, Courtney Johnson, listed as a principal with Alpine Group. Actually, if you go to her LinkedIn, she's listed as the senior vice president at Alpine Group. And if you go to the Alpine Group website and you click on her picture, it pulls up her bio page. It says that Courtney Johnson was recognized as a top lobbyist by The Hill with a proven track record of successful advocacy. And she has spearheaded and executed numerous advocacy campaigns on major health legislation. So working on health legislation while making statements in her private life such as black people have more sex partners and so have a higher risk of pregnancy. I reached out to Keenan Austin Reed, the CEO. I sent those screenshots as well as the image of her and then said, "The video's available if you want it." She said, "Yes, please send me the video." I sent her that. And then I didn't hear anything. So after a full day, I emailed her and said, "Hey, making a video. I don't know if Alpine Group would like to make a statement." She said yes, and she sent the following. "We are aware of this issue and have placed Ms. Johnson on administrative leave while we look into this. These statements are inconsistent with our values, culture, and beliefs as an organization." Statement from the Alpine Group.
All right, look, let's be clear here. I want to first dispel a few things. The reality, black people have more sex than that. Yes, Tizzy's right. She was trying to imply promiscuity. Look, the stats absolutely prove otherwise. Okay, the stats prove that whether you're black, white, Latino, whatever, in the aggregate, the number of sexual partners, all of that are pretty darn similar. And when there are exceptions, the exceptions are minimal. The fact that there are people that are believing the things that she speaks about, and Jimmy, the person that she's speaking about black folks, is painful, but it is not only painful, but ridiculous. I mean, one of the reasons I wrote a book called Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man is because just like you have folks that think the way she and Jimmy does, it's a thing that all of us, people of color, have to live through. And itemizing it and putting it in a fashion that folks can understand makes no sense, both reality-based and otherwise makes no sense. I think it's important. But so let's dispel what she talks about. Sexuality, the truth of the matter, it is false. But when they talk about DEI, which is what they were implying, that somehow black folks or Latinos or people of color get some kind of an edge because of DEI, another fallacy. Here's the reality. People of color have had to be exceptional to make it into the arena with mediocre otherwise. Okay? And I want you to remember this. When it was time to send the Apollo out, the mathematicians that could compute all these orbital mechanics, etc., was a woman named Katherine Johnson. This was a bastion of our space program. And that math was done by the people she disregards. When it comes to one of the best neurosurgeons in the world, it was Ben Carson. Yeah, I know Ben Carson gone crazy now, but again, why was he so good? He had to put the effort in. He had to work to get to the top. Katherine Johnson had to work to get to the top. Serena Williams in sports had to be that much better. Tiger Woods had to be that much better. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, they had to be so much better. So in effect, a lot of the prejudice and the racism that you saw in that conversation, in as much as it's a bad thing, it actually makes people of color better because they have to overperform. They have to excel. And that is what you got. But to my white brothers and sisters who know better, I think it is time that you take up the mantra. And once you heard what bothered this lady the most, that after that man made that genocidal statement, she just took it as no big deal and moved on. We have to be more humane. We have to be more humane. And not only humane, we actually have to try to learn the truth about things. The belief that somehow any race is better than the other is sickening and false. It is high time for folks to forget about their fragility. Forget about, well, if that person is good, that says something about me. It demeans me. It is important to stop it. It is important to get real. Now, I could go on further with this, but I think you get the point. Let's make one last point. No race is superior to any. In America and the Western world, white supremacy is still a thing, but it's a trick played not on black folks, not on Latino folks, not on indigenous folks. White supremacy is a trick played on white people. It is a trick that is damaging. It's a trick that makes you not excel as much as you can. And it is a trick that's used to divide people in order for a select few to take it all. And when we understand that, those of us below what the white supremacists think, meaning the average white, the average black, the average Latino, the average Asian, all of these, those folks, when they work together, will take it all away, all that was stolen because of the trick, because of the disease of white supremacy. And that is something that we have to understand, right? I mean, and this is something that, look, when you lived it, it's hard to have lived that. I sit down here and anytime I see one of these stories, I get that feeling in the gut from the date of my first job. Because, they're not as smart. DEI got them the job, all these kind of craps. And you wonder why these people have to say this. It's to feel better about themselves. Because when racists see you in positions a power that they don't expect to see you in, it gives them a feeling of inferiority because everything that they thought that they knew about those other people, they start to realize that it isn't true, right? It turns their heads upside down because everything that you've learned is really false. We sat down and we saw we saw the Apollo go around the Earth. Uh, John Glenn did the first orbital flight. He would not move unless Katherine Johnson did the computation of the orbital mechanics. Very, very complex calculations that talk about how you orbit a planet. But Americans never knew that. So whenever they think space travel and all these things, they think of somebody that doesn't look like that black woman that did it. You know, when you think about all the inventions, the first open heart surgery, all these things, that by not knowing the history, it allows people to look at each other. And by the way, you guys know I don't believe in the race thing. Pigmentation and all that sort of stuff is silly, but we live in a racialized society, so we have to go there. But this one touched me because this is an executive. This is a woman that's lobbying on health care. This has implications because if she feels this difference among peoples when they're generating and lobbying for healthcare, she wouldn't know things like, well, certain parts of America's cities, they're health desert that need certain types of projects there, certain types of programs there to mitigate that. If you feel that these people are less than, there are so many reasons why a woman like that, a woman that thinks like that, should hold no serious job, no serious federal job where it impact people. I'm going to how racist can she be as she able to along with a black boss? I see Breach answered you correctly. Breach says, seriously? You have no clue the racist things that come out of your mouth? Oh, that is so funny. Look, let me tell you, that woman, it shows you that the cancer of racism is a lot deeper than, a lot of times we like to throw it on to dumb people or people that don't know stuff. No, it is deeper than that. It's an insecure character flaw. It's an insecure disease that needs you to believe that your pigmentation, just your pigmentation, somehow gives you a one up on somebody else. If I were a bragging person, right, it, I would speak about all the things that I invented, right? And but there's one thing that a lot of there's one thing that a lot of people of color do, and that is they're not very expressive of their accomplishments in many audiences. They are hesitant to reveal how good they actually are in different projects, in different areas, in different subjects. And the reason why is because of the blowback they get from the fragility of some. Think about that. Think about that. So it is amazing what has happened here. Anyway, when I saw that, the first thing I thought about was when I first got, and I want to say this real quickly because, like I said, this has that thing that left a personal impression on me. When I got my first job, I remember after Pat Domain, she loved what I brought to the office. She loved what I would bring to the office, is what I would say. And the VP didn't want to hire me. And the vice president called me in his office, closed the door. As soon as he closed the door, I should have known what was happening. And he said, I don't know why Pat likes you, but you have 6 months to prove yourself. And if you don't perform, you're out of here. And I don't want to hear a damn thing about affirmative action. That was my first job out of college. That was my entry into corporate America. Somebody telling me, if it doesn't work out, I don't want to hear a damn thing about affirmative action. Just to be clear, I finished the project in 2 months. The 6 month project I did in 2 months. Uh, the other time, when I was working at the company where I met my wife, engineers normally get one interview, a couple of interviews sometimes if they want to make sure of a particular discipline. I got interviewed 4 times. 4 times. They just couldn't believe it. But man, the job get done. That company put out 5 products that year. I was responsible for the software on 4 of the 5 products that were released that year. But I had to do the interview 5 times. I could go on with story after story after story after story. So for folks that are listening, when people try to bring DEI and all these things up, remember what they're really doing. They're trying to they're trying to work on their own fragility, because again, all DEI does is it makes sure that people of color who are qualified actually make the team, actually are counted towards it. It's amazing. Have a good one, brother Radnin. So let's be clear. Let's be clear. Distracted by IRL stuff today. IRL. What is IRL again? Help me out. What's IRL? What's IRL again? Help me. My mind isn't working. All right. I have another video that I want to show today, and this one is about something that I did over the weekend. America is not gonna wake. In real life. Okay. Distracted by in real life stuff today. Oh, okay. Thank you, Yvette. I don't know where I was. You know, the mind is not functioning well. All right. The other thing that I want to do is America. We have to wake people up. They're not going to wake up on their own. And I did a little video on that on a blog that I wrote. So let's go do that. This is from the article titled "The Newsletter America Will Not Wake Up on Its Own." My daughter had an outing from her church to the escape room with her young people's group. She explained that this group of young people had to escape the Titanic. They worked collaboratively and finished in record time. All these kids went to schools where critical thinking was encouraged. They also learned to defer to the specific one with a particular strength in appropriate areas. Meaning, if I don't know something and I know you know something, I feel correct to defer to you. I don't try to do everything on my own. I don't try to be a bully. You work collaboratively. They learned how to do that in the different schools that they went to. The result is they escaped in record time. My daughter seemed disappointed that it was not more difficult. I told my daughter that these activities had to be dumbed down as our plutocracy continued to engineer America's dumbing down. From the removal of civics from the curriculum to the removal of books that provide a complete rounded education to the revision of history, we continue to fall behind the rest of the world. There will be consequences if enough of us are not awakened. We fear robotics and artificial intelligence. We have allowed the system to have us deny much by believing that replacing private insurance with Medicare for all is more expensive and will cost us more or provide fewer services, when the opposite is true. We have been made to believe that basic income would create freeloaders, but it is unaffordable when studies prove otherwise. I've written about these subjects in detail, have interviewed many experts, and will continue to do so. We are living through the almost complete execution of the Powell Memo. In one sentence, the Powell Memo was written by a lawyer named Lewis Powell, who would subsequently become a Supreme Court justice. It advised plutocrats to infiltrate schools, churches, and the media to promote unfettered, unregulated capitalism. I am paraphrasing the lengthy document, but that is the gist of it. Jeff Bezos, the owner of the Washington Post, recently made it clear that their opinion pages will follow the indoctrinative tenets of the Powell memo with the following paragraph from the edict he sent to his staff. Every one of his staff got this message. We are going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars only: personal liberties and free markets. We will cover other topics too, of course, but viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others. In other words, we are just going to indoctrinate with these two topics no matter what. If you're going to write anything else, bye-bye. To which the opinion editor of the newspaper said, bye-bye, and more should say bye-bye. Trump and Vance's ambush of an ally, President Vladimir Zelensky, shocked the world and critically thinking Americans. They understand that this infers a policy shift with worldwide potential alliance shifting implications. It is neither in the best interest of Americans nor did Americans ask for nor want, but with a sycophancy that is scared to challenge their Führer by going directly to the people. It is our job, again, I repeat, it is our job, those of us who actually know, and I'm saying we got to do it humbly, we got to do it civilly, but we got to do it. We've got to do it. It is our job to reach Americans that will not awaken on their own. Hence my title of the blog, America will not wake up on its own, because it's proven they will not awake on their own. The mainstream media will not help as they purge prolific administration critics. The sycophants are true to form, and the Democratic leadership continues to hesitate to escalate to DEFCON 1. The reality is that it is on us, the grassroots, the informed grassroots. America will not wake up on its own. We must be the catalyst. The reason we do this show, the reasons we do this program, the reason we write these blogs, the reason we write these newsletters, these books, these things, the reasons we do that is because, yes, we are patriots. Yes, we love America. Yes, we love our fellow neighbor, irrespective of their thought process. We love them. And you don't let that which you love make mistake continuously. No, you don't. No, you don't. I have this piece because, remember the fiasco that occurred in the White House with Donald Trump and Zelensky. I always want to bastardize the guy's name, Zelensky. Well, you saw Marco Rubio sitting down there looking very uncomfortable. And apparently Donald Trump must have realized that he was uncomfortable and then ordered him to write a tweet in support of Donald Trump. But let's go ahead and remember, and I want you to do this with me. Let's go ahead and remember who Marco Rubio used to be with respect to Ukraine. I want you to see this because this is fascinating.
I want you to see this video that proves MAGA is lying when they say the United States doesn't owe Ukraine anything. Definitely don't repost it, and definitely don't watch it till the very end.
When the Soviet Union fell in the early 1990s, Ukraine was left with the world's third largest stockpile of tactical nuclear weapons and strategic nuclear weapons on the planet. But they signed this agreement with the United States and Russia. They said, if you give up your nuclear weapons, we, these countries that signed to this, will provide for your defense. And so Ukraine did that. They gave up these weapons. Well now, 20 years later, one of the countries that signed that agreement hasn't just not provided for their defense, they actually invaded them. And I want to make a point on this for a second. Think about if you're one of these other countries around the world right now that feels threatened by your neighbors. And the United States and the rest of the world are going to you and saying, listen, don't develop nuclear weapons. We will protect you. What kind of lesson do you think this instance sends to them? I think the message this is sending to many nations around the world is perhaps we can no longer count on the security promises made by the free world.
Marco Rubio really doesn't want you to see this video that proves.
So, yes, I, I mean, you can't, you cannot make this stuff up. And we have videos upon videos of these guys doing things like that and suddenly falling behind their furor. Now, I want you to think about this. What kind of folks are these? Now we have Hegseth, right? And same subject. Now we had Hegseth taking off all our cyber protections in against Russia. In other words, Russia can do as it please in cyberspace now in the United States, and we won't even know because they purportedly dismantle whatever we're doing overtly or covertly to to check Russia and what they're doing on the internet. It is utterly pathetic what we're seeing here. All right, let's see what else we got here. Paul Fleming says, here it comes. Hold on tight. The Dow crashed 750 points as convicted felon Donald Trump confirmed devastating 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Nvidia tanked, auto stocks collapsed, and inflation looms. Trump's reckless trade war is lurching the economy, but it's torching the economy, but he'll just blame someone else while America suffers. I want you to think about this. A $40,000 car might actually increase in price by $10,000. Think about that. A $20,000 car increased by $5,000. Hey, I thought Trump was going to fix inflation, man. Evidently not. Evidently not. All right, let's see what else we have here. Breach says, well, that is a conversation between Breach and Lee. I think Lee is playing troll at this point in time because Lee has to know better. Lee Grant has to know better. Either that or he's, well, anyhow. Let's see what else we've got here. Paul Fleming says, hell, we do the census like allocate funds to each state. Most people of color live in southern states. By average, yeah, they do. Let's see. I find a good way to wake people up is a swift smack on the noggin, according to Steigen Bergen Creek. Paul Fleming says Trump plans to sign an executive order to overtake the USPS by dissolving its leadership and placing it under his administration. The move would grant them immense power overall in mail in ballots and key targets in Republican election fraud rhetoric. And that one will have to likely be thrown into court right away and get out. Now, I don't know if they've done it yet. I don't think they've done it yet. All right, Joe says, let's see, Joe says, let's see, do you have a weblog or something where we can check out your info? Too fast for me. I need to download links or have newsletter. Don't you get my newsletter for the things that I write? Because I normally put links to anything that I think needs corroboration. I'll put a link in the articles that I write in the newsletter. Check your junk mail. I think you should be subscribed to our newsletter, Joe. Joe. All right, let's see. Paul says we came out of World War II, the dominant power, the indispensable country for freedom. We've had NATO, and I worry this whole framework is going to collapse. It is going to collapse. Unless we do something about Donald Trump, the framework is gone. Europe is starting to look out for Europe. And, people just think about Europe as the problem with Europe is many different countries and they have different prides, right? But then there's Texas and New York, two different countries, right? They can live together if they want to. And that's what the EU is going to have to do. The EU is going to have to grow up like the United States has grown up. That's one thing the United States, I think, have done better. And that is integrate all of its different peoples into the United States. I don't think that really has happened to France. France like to claim tolerance, but I don't know how, when I say France, a lot of European countries, but I don't know how real that is. I think that is fairly superficial. In America, at least we fight through this, even though we need to be a bit more honest about it. All right, it's kind of amazing how racists don't believe they're racist, even when very obvious racist comments came out of their mouths. And they keep trying to claim we are pulling the race card. I don't worry about them calling me pulling the race card at all. I don't mind because we know better. And you, Paul Fleming, you know better. I mean, you lived it, Paul Fleming. You've lived it. This week, shareholders at Apple and John Deere voted against anti-DEI propositions by a margin of 97.3 and 98.7, respectively. They follow in the footsteps of Costco vote last month, in which investors voted against any anti-DEI initiative. Any company who wants to ensure that they continue to grow, they must support DEI. And like I said, I am going to be writing up stuff on who are the companies not supporting DEI. And we're going to promote the companies supporting DEI, and we're going to call out the countries that defy DEI. Okay, let's see what else we got here. What did I miss? Oh, Bruce, you're here. Bruce Pollard is in the house. Well, we had a message from a lobbyist who had some fairly racist tweets out there. Check it out. I have it. I already posted it on the YouTube channel, but later on I'll probably create a newsletter on it. I already wrote it on my blog. I just need to do some more um, edits on it before I close it down. All right. You know how it is here in Texas with vouchers and all kinds of things we're trying to do. Well, there is a state representative who I am trying to get on the program. I asked one of my rep friends to try to get him to come on, but so far I've been unsuccessful, but I'm going to try to get him. But here is the last piece that he did. I want you to see this one.
Destroying America is the billionaires. Here in Texas, a group of billionaires are trying to privatize our public schools and sell them off brick by brick. Their private school voucher scam will use the tax dollars of plumbers and nurses to fund coupons for wealthy parents who are already sending their kids to private school. It's theft. It's fraud. It's corruption. These billionaires may have bought our governor, but they don't own this state. Jeff Yass gave Greg Abbott $12 million to pass this voucher scam. But this capital doesn't belong to Jeff Yass. It doesn't belong to Tim Dunn. It doesn't belong to Ferris Wilkes. It doesn't belong to Betsy DeVos. It belongs to you. It belongs to the people of Texas. Big money is powerful, but it's nothing compared to people power. We won't hand over our state to these billionaires without a fight. Texans don't surrender easily. So if they want to close our Texas public schools, we've got 4 words for them. Come and take it. The only minority destroying.
I love that. If you want to come and take our state or our schools, come and take it. Come and take it. Anyway, folks, that's the material that I have for today. We're kind of early today. Give me a call, 281-823-7747. Again, you can give me a call at 281-823-7747. I would love to hear from some of you. Una vez más lo voy a repetir. One more time, I'll repeat it. 281-823-7747. All right, Bruce says, if Ukraine had nukes, they would have used them, or Putin would have blown them up and made a mess, or would have had to collect them, which would have upset Putin. I don't think so. Actually, I think if they had nuclear weapons, they would have had a deterrent. Because Putin is not crazy. He doesn't want Moscow to go up in smoke, right? It's the same reason why we haven't done anything to North Korea. It's the same reason why we're trying to keep Iran in check. You kind of wonder why we haven't done that with Israel, who has many nuclear bombs themselves. But I think what's good for the goose is good for the gander. There's only thus far in history, in living human history, there is only one country that had the gall, that believed it had the right, that didn't matter what happened otherwise, to use that weapon. And that is the United States. I speak about projection all of the times. We are the only country that have used the atomic weapon to kill hundreds of thousands of people. That's how we operate. One of the reasons we allow Israel to the genocide that it has done in Gaza, it's because Israel is not doing anything that we haven't done. My dear brother Bracken, how are you doing today, sir?
Note taking has stopped.
Happy Monday to you, Berto. I hope that you're faring okay in this somewhat difficult weather today.
Yes.
I actually heard you this morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was listening this morning. I know you've been working hard on trying to raise funds for KPFT. I love your guy, Brian, in the morning, because he always, he's very supportive. I'll put it to him like that. He loves to talk his smack, but he will put his money where his mouth is, and he wants to keep the entertainment going while he's trolling you. But
you
the funny
that, right? I love me
yeah,
some Brian.
you're his entertainment.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and you know what? He loves you too, because you just sit there and take it. But I was actually watching that debacle, and if anybody could recant it any better than it probably was, it was Saturday Night Live, because they sat there and bullied that man. And how they did J.D. Vance, where they said, just like my idols say, you broke the rules, you get nothing, you lose, good day, sir. That was the vibe that I was getting from J.D. Vance. He was just happy to be able to participate in anything, like, Daddy let me talk in the big meeting on camera, yay. That's what he was giving, and then Trump eventually told him to shut up with a hand, and little Marco looked every bit of little as he should. But besides these contemptible, spineless creatures that we call a government, what we need to do is we need to really, put emphasis on, letting people know this is the team that you voted for or didn't vote for. See, people always look at the president as, oh, he's one man, he can only do things, but that one man also has, basically the reign to, he's the law enforcement. He's the top cop. That's why I thought Kamala Harris would have been perfect for the job. She was a prosecutor. She was the top cop of the government at her respective level.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
Note.
Yes, she was. Okay, I think everybody's on now, right?
I thought
No, you're
okay.
on. I think
Yeah.
both.
Okay.
And,
so yeah, I know we're
Joy's
getting
on
to the end.
No, go ahead, Ray.
Oh, okay.
Joe,
Hey, Ms. Joe.
yeah,
So what I want to bring it home is this: we still have power for a moment. I was watching this guy who's a black lawyer, and he said that despite the black people that did vote for Trump, which was about 17 million, we still have a chance to take this thing back, because there was over 10 million people, black voters specifically, who chose not to participate at all. And that factors in even what Greg Palast says with voter suppression, which I actually do believe that there's some validity to his claims as well. But even without that, we still could have won.
No, I agree. The one thing again that I said when it comes to Greg Palace, and I'm gonna, in fact, I'm gonna do a Substack with Greg Palace in the very near future, where we're going to talk about that, and I'll query him so that everybody can hear what my concerns are, and I'm pretty sure he's going to make a very good interviewee. So we'll talk to Greg. But anyway, hold on a second, Ray. Let's go to Joe. Come on in, Joe. Joe? Joe, we can't hear you. All we hear is some things moving. So, Joe from LA, you're on.
Oh, Joe's calling from LA.
Yeah, she's calling from LA, but I don't hear her. So maybe let's see. Yeah, she should be on. But anyway, if she calls, oh, there she is. She's back. Hold 1 second.
AI
All right,
is taking notes.
All right, Joe, you're on now. Joe, are you there? Huh. Well, anyway, Joe, thank you for calling, Ray. Got to get ready to get out of here. Maybe Joe will call again, and we'll connect with her. Okay.
Yeah, it was good chopping it up with you, brother.
Thank you, my brother. All right, folks. Joe, I'm not sure what happened there with the last call, but I'll try to connect them the best I can the other time. Patrick Magner finally made it into the house with Mr. Meow in the house. How you doing, Patrick? Great to hear from you. Anyway, folks, anybody else wants to call? We have another couple minutes that we can take calls. 281-823-7747. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. Waiting here for your calls. But while I wait for the calls, I just want to ask you to please support the program. And how can you support the program? You can support the program by either becoming a patron. And how do you become a patron? Go to politicsdoneright.com/patron. Patron is spelled Patreon. P as in person, ATREON. But what I would love is for those who have the ability to do so to become supporters via our newsletter. It's subscribe to the newsletter and you get access to read all of my books online. All of my books online. And you can there's all other perks that we'll have for those people who decide to become subscribers of our newsletter. So please consider going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter right now and become a paid subscriber. Love you for it, and we'll keep doing what's right. I live in between a bunch of antennas in a mixed-use building. Reception is constantly impossible. Well, try again. You got a minute. Try again. Let's see if we can get to talk to you. Want to hear your voice. Anyway, folks, support us as best as you can. Again, that number is 281-823-7747. And to support us, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. One more time, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Let me wait 30 seconds to see if Joe's going to call. If she doesn't call, we're going to close this baby out. I want to thank all of you for calling. I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to ask you all to share our program, to suggest to others to subscribe to not only our YouTube channel, but to our newsletter. It's very inexpensive for those who choose the paying option, and it allows us to continue doing what we're doing. All right, got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EG BERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.